Hello there. How about I try to be a little bit less awkward? That would be great. Hi. I'm already sweating. That's great for me. So, hi again. These past few months, years have been interesting, and after a lot of wandering in the lower parts of the mood graph, I'm finally in a place in which I can be more functional, which is great. Yay for me. I'm gonna stop now. Still, I've been kind of MIA, and now that I'm back in a sense, there are a couple of things that I need to pick up where I started them, and others that I need to start from scratch with my new acquired wisdom. Can you tell my Ravenclaw? It was and still is a lot to deal with and kind of really overwhelming. So instead of setting unrealistic expectations like I usually do, I've set up a fully customized challenge for myself to be able to spend consistent time and effort into the areas of my life that I felt needed that attention, and just in a way that could help not only all of these areas in my life but also my day-to-day lifestyle, something that I could take day by day. But first, let me do a little bit of a disclaimer because we need it. So for the disclaimer, I'll be reading it because I don't want to mess it up, and hopefully it's good. If it's not, little disclaimer for my peeps wanting to get their shit together as well. All of this came about in a few months of getting my shit together after almost 2 years of the lowest of lows and a decade of therapy. I'm in a phase in which this makes sense for me to get back on track. The only reason why I'm doing this challenge is for myself and because I know that I'm in a place where I can accomplish it. A year ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to do these tasks, not even on day one, and would have postponed it to no end. In this moment in time, however, I felt like I needed something like this challenge to give me a little push to do the things that I want. But there are moments for everything in life. Sometimes you just gotta focus on your health or bettering your relationships, or just do your best to embrace existence and go day by day. While I've been through the lows, I often bitched myself just because I wasn't doing anything, and I felt like I was just existing. After a lot of time in that state, I realized that that was just the way it was supposed to be, and by that I don't mean it doesn't suck, because it does, but in those lows things are tough enough. I don't need to add self-judgment to spice it up. Did I just rhyme? I think I did. And by that I don't mean it doesn't suck, because it does. In those lows things are tough enough. I don't need to add self-judgment to spice it up. Am I a poet? I'm rhyming. This is going great. So that's it for the disclaimer. Moving on to the rest of the video. So, how many times am I gonna do the peace sign for this video? Yes, let's talk about this great challenge. I don't know about you,
but I'm feeling 22.
But when it comes to tasks or activities that I want to work on or that will make me happy, procrastination tends to get the best of me. And usually the toughest part for me is starting. So I needed to work with that. I knew that. That's when I came up with the idea for the 5x12x100 challenge. I'm going to be referring to it as the multiply challenge because that's easier. Apparently, it should be easier to say than 5x12x100. Yes, I'm struggling, and this is only the second time that I'm saying it. I referred to it as that for like 97 out of the 100 days, which is a tragedy. But now, for the sake of you, and thankfully for the sake of me filming this video, I've titled the challenge the multiply challenge because that's way easier. So the challenge basically consists of 5 minutes that I'll be spending on each of 12 activities for 100 days. As long as I get done the 5 minutes, I've completed the challenge. This means that, let's say, if I do the 5 minutes on the activity, I'm good. I've already accomplished the challenge. And this means that if I finish a book in one day, that's great because I've accomplished reading a book. But if I didn't, if I only spent 5 minutes of reading, I've accomplished my goal, which was not to finish a book, not to finish a drawing, not to finish editing a video, not to finish writing some creative piece of writing or whatever. My only and main goal is to do 5 minutes on each of these activities. So if I've done it, it's great. I've accomplished it. No unrealistic expectations for me. This is going from 0 to literally 100 for me because I haven't done much aside from existing, and that's okay. I was in my existing era and that's fine. I'm just glad that we're here to move on from it. So yeah, you may be wondering, what are these so renowned 12 activities that she's talking about? And thank you for asking. I will gladly oblige and tell you. Let's talk about the challenge. I put my hair up and took off my jacket because it's hot, but I wanted to look cute, so I put on a long sleeve shirt, so don't judge me. I present to you the 12 activities. All of the activities are health related to some extent, whether it be physical or mental health. I wanted to make sure these activities, no matter how small, would improve these two areas of my life. The first type of activity we'll be talking about are the intellectual nutrients for my beautiful and gorgeous and not always so kind brain. For the intellectual nutrients for my brain, we have first and the cutest, Duolingo, my duo birdie. He and I have a love-hate relationship, but it's mostly for shits and giggles because his status on the widget are so dramatic. They honestly make my day and annoy me at the same time because why does that bird have so much personality? I just banter a lot with Duolingo, and the thing that I focus when I'm practicing Duolingo is Korean. Any Korean practice I do, that's part of my Korean practice, something that I wanted to incorporate in my day-to-day. I also have talked to me in Korean books and watch K-dramas and all of that good stuff, but something that I wanted to keep up was my Duolingo streak. Then we have studying. This is a bit of a first come, first serve. When I say study, I don't particularly mean academic studies, but more random yet specific topics that interest me. For instance, one of the many things I love learning about is bees. So for this activity, I could choose to do some research on bees or watch an animal documentary. I could also research a certain craft that I'm interested in. One thing that I got is a couple of books on creative writing, so reading or annotating those books would be considered time for this activity. Lastly, for the intellectual nutrients for my brain, we have music. In high school, I studied music theory as an elective and learned a bit of piano. Something I've always had on my list of goals is to properly learn to play piano, and while in high school, I learned the best way to master any skills to practice, so that's why I added this activity to the list. First, I'll be focusing on reviewing the theory I already know and make sure I know how to read scores, to then move on to practicing piano exercises, and lastly, learn a few songs. Next, let's talk about activities that will work with my body and to help my body, my physical health, and this includes things like mood boosters, so silly dancing is one of them, and yeah, let's go with that and see what else I've got there. The first physical nutrient we'll go through is stretching. I stretch mainly for two reasons. One, to warm up my muscles. For exercises is one of the activities I'll be mentioning going forward, and two, to ease my back and headaches, because honestly it's just the only way that I can get those to ease up, and I'll take it, you know. I don't know about you, but I've been working on my posture these past few months and I'm really proud of it. Still, if I spend a long time without doing some stretches, I will get backaches and headaches, and that's no fun. So it's part of the activities. Then we have the second activity for the physical nutrient. We have silly dancing. Though this could be considered an exercise activity, I wanted this activity as a mood booster and just because it's fun. When I say silly, I mean the cha-cha slide, La Macarena, dancing like Ollie Dawson from Austin and Ally. If you know, you know. Yeah, it's nothing serious. I'm literally silly dancing. Then we have exercise, something that I've realized in some of my lowest points when I feel like I need to do something but cannot manage to get out of bed to do any activity that will bring me happiness, is that for some reason exercise is a thing that I can get up for in those times when I'm paralyzed with anxiety. This happens every now and again, and every now and again I'm just surprised that I can get up to do exercise out of all things. I don't understand how that works, but I'll take it. Something is something. Then lastly, this is also a nutrient for my body, because even though it's not like an exercising activity, I feel since it's a mood booster, I also call it a nutrient for my body, which is karaoke. This activity goes along the same lines of silly dancing. It's mostly there as a mood booster. Also, I sing every single day while going about things, so it's an instant check, tough to do. Why do I sing every single day? Because I feel like I live in a musical and I have a song for every single instance of my life. Then we have activities that are for my creative muscle, activities that will help me work slowly but surely into getting all of my creative juices flowing and get into the habit of channeling all of my energy into things that make me happy and bring me joy. And joy and happiness not the same thing, so we'll roll with that. The first creative activity is writing. When I say write, I don't mean any type of writing like a grocery list or a journal entry. This activity is focused on creative writing, and that can be a poem, a script, a story, anything really that requires any sort of creativity and that could eventually become a published piece of writing in its original form or through a video script. Then we have editing. Thanks to this activity, you're seeing this video. I really enjoy editing, but like with most tasks, I get overwhelmed by the idea of it and the amount of time it requires and just procrastinate on it to no end. The hardest part is connecting my hard drive and opening the editing software. Once I have the timeline in front of me, I get carried away with editing and can manage to get a lot of progress done without being aware of the time I spent on it, and it makes me feel accomplished. Then lastly, for this type of activity, we have drawing. I really believe that practice is the best way to make progress, and one thing that I really want to improve my skills on is drawing, mostly because I just enjoy the activity, and improving my skills will make easier my process of putting my mental images down on paper. For the past few years, I've used simple blank notebooks as sketchbooks and Medibang for digital illustrations. I recently got Procreate on the iPad to be able to rename my files and arrange them in a more sensical way, and it was and still is a bit of a learning curve from using Medibang. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have activities that will bring comfort and calmness to my life and pure coziness, which are only 2 activities since, as you may have noticed already, we only have 2 left out of the 12. The first heart nutrient we have is reading, one of my favorite activities of all time, but for some reason I find it really difficult to pick up the book I intend on reading, but then when I end up picking it up, I don't stop reading, so it's a matter of starting because I do really enjoy reading, like I already mentioned. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have journaling. My memory is not the best in terms of not knowing what I've done the past week or even yesterday if I don't write it down. Like, it will literally be gone if I don't write it down. You already know about the 5 minutes, but I also had to set up a set of rules to hold myself accountable for this challenge, because I can be a little bit mischievous and find some loopholes when it comes to following the challenge. So the set of rules that I thought of was: first, the challenge must be completed within the 24 hours of the day. This is because I could easily say, oh, I haven't gone to sleep yet and it's 1 a.m. the next day, and that just basically means that I will not center this challenge around my sleep schedule, because I kinda don't have a sleep schedule. It's very messy, and since it's not reliable, it wouldn't make sense for me to wrap the challenge on the time that I was awake, because, well, it just varies every day and it wouldn't be feasible to track the challenge that way. And also, I could be like, in the first 20 minutes, let's say until 1 a.m. oh, I completed the challenge today, so at 1 a.m. and that counted for yesterday and also today. So that wouldn't allow me to do the challenge the way it's supposed to be, the 5 minutes every single day, regardless of my schedule. But something I gotta tell you is that I still found a loophole with this one. Despite my best intentions, I found a loophole specifically for the physical part of this challenge, and the loophole was that since this rule consists of doing the challenge within the 24 hours, this means that on the last 15 minutes of the day, so from 11:45 till 12, I could do the physical part of the challenge and then continue on from 12 until 12:15 and do the 50 minutes of the challenge of the next day consecutively. For me, it would feel feel like one workout, but it counts for 2 days of the challenge because again I did it within the 24 hours of each individual day. And the reason why I love this is because I hate sweating. I'm literally sweating right now, and I just thought it was genius. I could get over with my workout and continue on again from the last 15 minutes of the day to the 50 minutes of the next day, and it was great. What can I say? I may have used these loopholes a couple of times throughout the challenge. The second rule is that the challenge cannot be time based in terms of the time being accumulated throughout a period of time, and that means that I need to do the challenge, like all of the activities, I need to do them every single day, because I could have easily said, oh, I won't do my reading today, my 5 minutes of reading today, because I can do 10 minutes tomorrow, or just not do any of the reading throughout the week because I could do 35 minutes of reading at the end of the week, and that's not the point of the challenge. Again, this is a rule I had to set to myself just so that I couldn't be sneaky with it and make sure that I complete the purpose of the challenge, which is doing this set of 12 activities every single day for at least 5 minutes for 100 days, of course. So I made sure I had that rule set up, and those are basically the rules that I made for this challenge aside from the actual structure of the challenge. Part of me thinks this set of rules was genius, and the other part of me wants to slap my past self like,
Why would you do this to me?
but again, it fit with the purpose of the challenge and made sure I didn't do any shenanigans to find a loophole with it.
Even I did find just a teeny tiny one.
But I didn't account for that. When I came up with it, I sort of defeat my past self a little bit in that sense, but I did what I had to do. One thing though that I would have loved to include within the rules / disclaimers of the challenge was what I would be doing if I got sick, which I did, and that wasn't fun. And I did complete the challenge. I literally vlogged that week that I got sick. Well, the week that I was getting better, because you didn't want to see me the week that I was fully sick. Trust me, you didn't want to see that. But I would have loved to include a disclaimer that some activities, specifically the physical activities, could have been moved or excluded from days that I would be sick, or special different situations, because life happens. And I'm proud that I did complete the challenge, but I know that for the next challenge that I do, I will definitely include some disclaimers / exceptions, because when I did this challenge, I thought that my only obstacle was me, basically, and it just happens that life is a thing. Who would have thought? So yeah, it's something that I want to consider for the next challenge. And if you're planning on doing something similar, do a little disclaimer for when life happens, There are a lot of wins that I got from this challenge, and a lot of things that I learned. Some things that I plan to do better for the next challenge I complete. I don't know when I'm gonna start that one, but I'm already brainstorming some ideas for the next challenge to come. Here are the biggest wins that I got from this challenge. I got a lot of wins, but these are the top 5 that I got from this. And I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but I'm genuinely really grateful for this challenge. And yeah, it's been a really fun, challenging experience, but I'm really happy that I did it. Number 1, renewed and improved confidence in myself. While I've been in the lows of the mood graph, my confidence and my self-love wasn't at the best state, and really doing this commitment to myself and making sure I stick to it and actually completing it has skyrocketed my confidence in myself as it once was, and I would say possibly even better. I'm really grateful for this challenge, because one of the best things I got was this confidence that I got in my skills and my discipline, and just in making a promise to myself and sticking to it. Number 2, it did improve my mental and physical health. All of these activities were catered towards improving those things, and again, really grateful that it worked. And along the same lines, the third thing that I got from this challenge was an improved mood. Like I mentioned, I really wasn't expecting for the activities per se to have such a big impact in my mood. If I was having a bit of a low day, a bit of a rough day, whatever, if I started working on the activities, and I wouldn't want to start working on them, trust me. The worst part is starting, but as soon as I started working on them and started getting them done, my mood improved instantly. So yeah, that was great and something that I wasn't expecting completely. The fourth thing is that I built discipline. For the past while, I thought of myself as someone who wasn't disciplined, someone that was very inconsistent, and I didn't like how that made me feel because I thought that I couldn't stick to something, and this challenge did really prove to me that I can be consistent, I can be committed to something that matters to me. And again, the whole thing of making a promise to myself and sticking to it just comes full circle again with renewing and improving my confidence. That was great. And lastly, but certainly not least, I made progress on things that matter to me. All of the creative tasks and just cozy tasks like reading and journaling, those are things that matter to me and things that make me happy. And to have been able to do a little bit of progress that I have not gotten previously while being in the lows, that was great. And it's not about being productive or anything like that. It's just that thing of, I don't know how to say this, I just don't even know how to explain it, but that thing of doing something that makes me happy and seeing the progress I've made. Not all of the projects that I started working on are finished, but that wasn't the point. The point it was that I had to start them and get some work done, and I've learned so much because of course there were a lot of intellectual activities like learning, and even the creative activities, they in a way were also learning activities because, for instance, drawing, I'm not the best at drawing, but I learned a lot while practicing, and I just really believe that practice makes progress, and I'm really proud of that. And these are just a few of the many things that I got from this challenge, which I'm really grateful for, as cheesy as it sounds. Now, I couldn't just have this challenge for myself without a way of tracking it, and I combined a digital and analog system to fit to my needs as I see fit. For a period of time, I would use more the digital side of the system, and sometimes I would be using more the analog side of the system, depending on what I was feeling like. For the digital part of the system, I mainly used Day One. Day One is a journaling app, and I've been using it for a while. I think I first heard of it either from Ali Abdal or Patricia from the Bliss Bin. I've been loving this app, and it's just really easy to use, and in it I would basically title the day and put the 12 activities that I needed to do. I would usually place them in the order that I was actually doing them. Like, I didn't create a template and just regenerate that template every single day, because I would do the activities in a different order every single day. So yeah, I just made the checklist, and also below it, aside from the checklist, I would put a bullet point describing what I did for the activity. So for reading, I would put the book I was reading. For studying, what I was studying. For writing, what project I was working on, and editing, and so on and so forth. So this really helped me keep track of the things that I was working on and making sure that I stuck to these 12 activities, because I couldn't count on my brain to just keep track of them. So I'm really happy with how Day One turned out. And sometimes I'm also an analog girly, and I love me a good notebook. So I also had my sketchbook, and in it I had the calendars. I graded them at the beginning of the challenge, and that was just something for me to check off. At the end of it, I will literally let a week pass and check off the whole week that I did it, and keep track of which day I was in. And also in my daily journal, which is astrology, I would sometimes do the checklist that I would do on Day One. I would do it on the astrology, and also do the little bullet point below the task to make sure that I jotted what I was doing specifically for that activity for the challenge. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This will be it for this video, though it won't be the last challenge related video, as I will be posting a vlog coming up. And I know it's been a long and hefty video, so I hope you liked it, and thank you so much for watching up until this point. If you did like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Be yourself, be happy, be human. Sending you lots of love.